All right, so I'm joined with David Redish, my man. So David and I went to grad school together. That's how we know each other. And David is a practicing psychotherapist. He's a couples coach, a dad coach. Any other titles that you would give yourself? He's a father.
I'm a dad, a husband.
Yeah. Student.
That feels like
child
enough.
of God. Yeah.
Nice. See what more identities we can lay on top.
Right, exactly. Infinite. Right. So, and we were just talking before we started recording about couples work and how you are a relatively new dad. You had, I guess, all your kids, right? When we were in grad school.
Yeah.
And David's married, and naturally there tends to be conflict in relationship.
Absolutely.
So the question is, how do you handle that, especially with the added weight of having kids in the picture?
And it adds a lot, right? We were just saying too, right? The pressure's really on when kids are in the picture. It changes everything. I mean, the need to feel like figuring it out right away becomes so greater, at least in my experience with my wife. I get this feeling of shame of like, well, my kids deserve better parents than this kind of story, right? And that can be so vicious.
Of course. And there's something beautiful in that. You want to be the best dad possible, obviously. And obviously being a therapist too, like I'm sure you hear the same thing of like trauma that comes from early, dynamics, household dynamics. For me also, just in my own life, like parents arguing, yelling, screaming as a little kid, you're like, what the fuck is going on? This is like all of a sudden the home is destabilized. So there is pressure, but also we're human beings, we have emotions, especially in such a intimate partnership like marriage. Like things are inevitably going to come up. So how do you hold, again, that weight of wanting to be the best dad possible while also not repressing unskillfully your humanness and the beauty of those emotions?
Yeah. It's, in my experience, it's a matter of relaxing. I think that's where I've come to most clearly right now is my job is actually as a dad, as a husband, as a person, as a therapist, calm my nervous system as much as possible, as much of the time as I can. Of course, I'm going to get pissed. I'm going to get angry. I'm going to get sad. I'm going to feel all the feelings and go into them, let them be there, have some practice, have some breathing practices. I'm happy to share some while we're on, but really do that every day. So I know what's going on inside. So I don't just unconsciously spew that onto my wife, onto my kids, because they spew it right back. And then it really fucking hurts.
Shit. Yeah, totally.
Right.
Totally. And I can reflect. I've been in similar dynamics where it's interesting in those relationships. Oftentimes our partners or kids, I'm sure, can be a mirror. It's like, if I'm not taking care of myself, they'll let me know. You know what I mean? Because I'm, for me, I'll be a dick sometimes, and I can own that. I'm sometimes a dick, but that's a product of, again, many things. But we can say again, lack of a regulated nervous system. So what comes up for me in relationship is not black and white. Like those conflicts, it can be feeling unseen, unmet, unvalued, some sort of lack of understanding where I want to be met, and that's not a bad thing, right? That's not something we want to repress and say, oh, that anger, that desire is wrong, So how to hold that skillfully. And you're talking about breathing into it, being able to calm down, to come from that place of what I would say is response versus reactivity, right? Because if we just react unconsciously to circumstances, then we're projecting that, dysregulation onto the people we love. And what a damn shame. And I'm definitely guilty of this, and I look back at those experiences and I'm like, damn, I can't get that back. Fucked it up. And again, those are learning experiences. So what are some ways pragmatically that you can help, or for yourself or for clients, to regulate those nervous systems when something is activated?
Yeah. So let's say you and your partner are already in conflict, right? There's an issue, it's come up, you're trying to figure it out, you're trying to talk it out, which oftentimes is not the best way. Super simple skill. It's going to sound probably ridiculously oversimplified, but take a break. Pause, right? A skillful pause with communication. Hey, this is just evolving into an argument. Let's take 10 minutes. I'm going to put a timer on my phone and we'll come back. Do what you need to do. I'm going to do what I need to do. Now, what you can't do is just go stew and fortify your argument in that 10 minutes, which is everybody's done that. And sometimes you're going to do it, but then you just come back and it's even worse than it was, right?
I'm going to prove that she's wrong and I'm going to find X, Y, Z. I'm going to talk to ChatGPT and it's going to prove that she's wrong. Hilarious.
Exactly.
But, right. It's like, and also that break maybe to let the dust settle and sink into the heart. And maybe even to connect with this person and just be like, I love this person. There's a reason we ended up in this dynamic as far as, being married or in any sort of partnership. So there's love here. Can I remember that regardless of the circumstances, regardless of what's going on, spinning around, the world is a complex place and things happen. But can we connect with that love to speak from that place in the heart rather than she doesn't see me or she's just wrong and just, So taking a break. And that just means, I'm assuming, telling them, hey, can we just sit in stillness, breathe together?
I think it depends on the couple and what's going to work for them. I think sometimes the best thing is just let's pause and actually take space from one another. I'm going to go in the other room. I'm going to sit. I'm going to meditate. I'm going to breathe. I'm going to take the dog for a walk. I'm going to have a drink of water. You're going to take a shower, wash your face.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter. Do a thing though. Be intentional with this 10 minutes. And in a way, right, take your mind off the conflict because it's going to be very easy to stay in it. It's actually going to take work to do something else. Right. That work's going to pay off. And then I think when coming back from conflict, whether it's after this break or we had an argument this morning and I know, hey, I want to talk about it before we go to bed and I texted you that during the day, this is my suggestion. This is what I do with my wife. First thing, I put 2 meditation pillows on the floor in our room. The kids have gone to bed. There's nothing else to worry about. Just say, hey, can we just sit and eye gaze for 1 or 2 minutes? And I know if you're not into that kind of thing, it's going to feel super awkward. You're probably going to smile and smirk at each other.
Yeah.
It works.
Let's talk about eye gazing.
Let's talk about it.
It's Naropa, where we went to grad school, is in a sense, sort of like a cringily woke new age liberal university. It is beautiful in some ways, but we did eye gazing there, and it was really the first time I did this, and it's the first time you really try it, you sink into ooh, this is weird to just be seen, and it's kind of vulnerable because again, the eyes really are the gateway to the soul, and you can feel somebody so deeply through eye to eye connection. This is talked about in tantric arts. Sexually, there's an energy transfer, actually. Mm-hmm. You're seeing somebody, you're also receiving somebody through the eyes. So when you're really being seen and seeing another, it's scary because you can't really hide, actually. It's the tenderness, the vulnerability, the little boy that just wants to be heard. It's all right there. And it's the demons have nowhere to hide. And it's there's such a purification that comes through that degree of connection. And I wish I had the opportunity to do that with one of my partners. I never did.
I think that, can I say something?
Please.
That's so beautiful too, to recognize. I wish I could have done that with this past connection. And I think integrating that into, I am going to do that with whoever is sitting across from me the next time, and recalling both the pain, but also the beauty of that opportunity. Yep. That really is growth. And that is really healing through a relationship. I think that's actually the way that we heal almost all of our old baggage and wounds in deep, committed, intimate partnership, sitting there across from each other and saying, this is my shit. This is my shit. It's cool. I see it. I might not like it. And that might come up later in the future where actually that really triggered me. But right now I'm with you. You're with my stuff. I see you. Mm-hmm. Also, you mentioned feeling that little boy, little girl, right? There's a style of therapy, and I try to do this with couples. I think it's basically foolproof. See the little boy, see the little girl inside of that person sitting across from you, right? I might be sitting in the room with this couple, but they're facing each other. They're communicating. I'm just making sure that when the 2 hours is up, they know it's time to go home and go back to work and go, right? They need to see, they need to feel each other. They need to understand that whatever pain and suffering is coming into the room, the other person is probably not the perpetrator of. And this victim perpetrator thing that's happening is just an old pattern and an old story that can be dissolved. It might come back, but it can be softened and dissolved too.
And I think there's something about this notion of co-regulation, where for me being, if we're going to take the attachment style lens, heavy avoidance. I'll just pull back, be by myself, go into the mountains. You won't see me for days. I'm gone. And that's like, it works for me. That's one way, but it's not the only way. And there's something about stepping into the fire with courage of meeting somebody, even when I feel pissed, I feel unseen, I feel like, in a sense, sort of heartbroken. Like, why can't you meet me? You know what I mean? It's like having that vulnerability to connect with somebody and to share that with them. And it doesn't have to be verbally. Again, through the eyes, it's all is seen. And again, maybe it's not the specifics, but you're feeling somebody and you're seeing them and you're seeing where they're at. And also, I think there's something about like holding hands, like being with them. There's something about, I see you and we don't agree. And yet here we are. And we're not going to break this, and there's something where, again, the stillness and the simplicity seems to allow us to sink into the heart, where the mind gets more and more agitated. Why can't you meet me? Why can't you don't even love me type shit, and then we're just gone. And we're not in the heart, in the feeling body, because it's too painful. And maybe it doesn't feel safe to express that pain. But I found that pain with a partner, if you can express that, that is an invitation into deeper intimacy with them. And I say this with clients, and I've seen it in myself. If I can share, hey, this made me feel scared, insecure. This made me feel small. I didn't like when you said that. It's vulnerable to share that kind of weakness. And I just did a podcast with my buddy Light yesterday. We were talking about one of my exes where I had this kind of knight in shining armor kind of archetype, and it was so hard to express any weakness. And I was, again, I see this in hindsight, but just convinced that if I express that weakness, Bay's going to leave me. Because then she'll see through this facade of the knight in shining armor. But I never gave her a chance to hold me in that, And again, what a shame. But is what it is.
Is what it is.
Here we are.
We take the lessons and we move forward.
Exactly.
Yeah. I really I relate to that hurt so much. And I know from my most of my young adult life and through most of my 20s, just holding women at arm's length, because it was way too scary to like let them get any closer to my heart. Yeah. It seemed like on the surface, I'd take them out, go do nice things, go on nice trips, whatever. But the conversation never got deep, really. I was feeling all these things. Like it felt deep, especially as somebody was an artist in their previous career. I was like pulling from these feelings of hurt and shame and like putting them into my work, but I actually wasn't bringing them back into my real life. It was just like really cut off experience. And it took a long time. I think some of it was plant medicine, and part of it was just seeing, oh wow, if I do this, nobody's close to me. I'm super lonely. This is really sad. For somebody who has strong family connections and solid, secure relationships, to not have close people near me is something's wrong. What's going on here? I really had to self-evaluate. And the hard work has been to just rip down those old walls of protection. Yeah. Because they're still there. Like you said, like avoidance, for me, just feeling insecure when my wife brings things to me that question my masculinity, my ability to provide.
Am I enough?
Yeah. The anger can come super fast, right?
When that gets poked.
When it gets poked. Yeah, when that trigger comes up.
And for me, I really think like I've opened my heart to certain people and got like tragically wounded, handicapped through breakups. You know what I mean? Like literally handicapped is the word. Like I can't think, I can't like go to work, I can't operate the same way because I'm in so much pain. So it's again learning the skill of who do I open my heart to? And that's something that I've been refining, and I've been exploring through other relationships. When is it that I'm not opening my heart, and when is it just not the right fit? You know what I mean? And trusting, hey, don't open your heart to this person because it's not going to turn out well. So it's like it actually wouldn't be skillful to open your heart to the wrong person. So it's not necessarily that the heart is closed for, again, no reason. There's a wisdom there, and it takes the right individual to really serve as like a key to open the heart. You know what I mean? And that's, I mean, the beauty of this existence, finding that person who can open this heart and let me fall into the beauty, the bliss, the peace of being heart-centered with another person. And that is so terrifying, because it's like when you taste that bliss of, like, again, really like busting the heart wide open, falling into literally bliss and love, like it's like the best thing on earth. So when somebody has the keys to that, sketchy, scary. You hold the keys to, like, one of the best things we can experience as human beings. So that's where my avoidance comes in. And I'm like, I would rather not even taste that than get the, have my heart close and broken again. And I feel like I'm stepping into this place where I'm ready to get my heart broken again. Or I'm ready to at least test the waters,
You heard it here first.
Yeah, no, it's so funny because here on Spiritual Fuckboy, yeah, we'll be in relationships. I'm not anti-relationship for sure, and I'm also not a fuckboy. It's just it's more of life has seasons, and owning wherever I'm at. And that's the thing. I really do trust creation to flow, to move me to where I need to be. And I think there's something so freeing about anyone being able to trust where they're at. Not just falling for what psychology says or the certain paradigm in the culture of, like, oh, if you have a closed heart, if you're an avoidant attachment, insecure attachment, whatever, there's something wrong with you. We need to fix you. What if there's a wisdom here? What if things are moving through you? What if the angels are moving through you? Can we trust that? Can we trust that the heart opens when the heart opens, like a flower blooms when it blooms? You can't yell at it to make it open quicker, But this is a nuanced topic because obviously some people get stuck with what I'll call like a closed heart their whole lives. And like you said, it's lonely. It's safe to close the heart because no one's going to get in there. But it's also isolating.
Super lonely. And I get curious, like, what's really happening when somebody has their heart locked down for a whole lifetime?
What do you think?
I think it's a nervous system response because I get curious with them when people bring this kind of stuff up. The thing you expressed of, I don't want to open my heart again because I might get crushed again.
Yeah.
I'm basically afraid to let somebody take the keys, nice metaphor, to open my heart because then there's a question. Do I have control? Who's in control?
Can I trust them?
Yeah, trust, right? All the old pieces probably from mom and dad or even before that, they get brought right back up. Whether or not we can point at them. And as a therapist and as a person, I don't give a shit about this is because my mom did this.
Right.
In fact, I've just stopped doing that with clients unless they say it. They say it, I'm like, let's talk about it. But I don't go, what did mom say?
Yeah.
That doesn't actually matter.
Yeah.
We don't need a label with a voice. Let's just talk about what is happening. What is this feeling when the heart is breaking, good and bad? So to keep it simple, nervous system.
Yeah.
How do you know if your nervous system is locked down, wide open, regulated, dysregulated? And everybody's going to have different cues. There's simple ones like I'm sweating, I'm nervous, I can't look people in the eyes, I can't sit still, things like this. And then there's more subtle cues, right? What does it feel like inside your body? Do you feel safe? Do you know what the difference is, safe, unsafe, right? Simple breathing practice, right? This is what I do every day. And especially when I'm both feeling really good, but also when I'm feeling not as good, just a 3-part breath, right? Deep into the low belly, into the middle abs, into the upper abs and chest, and then go out the same way. Chest, middle abs, belly. Just kind of up, down, massaging the nervous system. Do that for a couple minutes. And then I just stop and I just breathe. And when I stop and breathe, I feel the breath like kind of moving down this inner channel. Like it's almost kind of like it's breezing by down to my dantian, root chakra, and then breezing back out. And just like, okay, what's changed? What's happened? What's shifted? Is there space here? Is there not? Am I still contracted? Am I wide open? That gives me a cue. Okay, what can I do next? Maybe I need to move my body. Maybe I need to call somebody. Maybe I just need to do nothing.
Yeah. And for me, when there is like, I guess I would call it dysregulation. Sometimes it's breath. Sometimes it's sitting. For me, a lot of time it's movement. It's like I need to run. I'm like a dog. That's what it feels like. Sometimes I'm like, I need to go sprint somewhere or run up a mountain or go work out. And it's like all these ways to kind of move that energy to, how do I put this? again, move the energy. So for me, when the heart gets locked up, it's hard for me to actually trust my perception. Do you know what I mean when I say that? Where it's like perception actually shifts through a closed heart. What I see changes. And I remember with one of my previous exes, like we're in an argument and all I can think is this relationship isn't going to work. It's the heart's closed and all I can see is all the negatives is like X, Y, Z. This is why this is not a good fit. And then I actually did a internal family systems parts work session sort of on myself. And it took me back to this memory with my mom, just this image of her like screaming at me. And I was speaking to my ex-girlfriend at the time, kind of running her through what I was doing with the parts work. And I was saying this little boy just feels, and I couldn't say it. And then I said hated by my mom. And the second I said the word hated, something burst, like popped, and I started streaming tears. And my adorable little girlfriend just comes and gives me a hug. And all of a sudden I can feel again. It's like my heart is open. I'm like, well, I was about to dip and just end this relationship. And now I'm like, I see her and I'm like, thank God she's here. I'm like, wow, I have such a blessing in front of me. And that was a product of having the open heart. But what's so trippy to me, I don't know what to trust. I can't tell because it's like perception gets warped. So is this like, what do I trust in those moments? Like, when do I open the heart? And it's a tricky thing for me where I really like, I don't know when or what. And again, there's this deep ultimate trust in the flow of things, yes. But also like, I do want to be able to access those deeper states of love because I've been there and it's like, you can't go there and then like almost live without it. It's like you've tasted something so sweet, so deep, so beautiful. How could you not at least try for that? But this is like the most terrifying part for me, where I could run to the ends of the earth to try to be like, I don't need it. I don't need it. I don't need it. And it's like, ultimately, it's not going to work. It's like life for me will bring me to my knees and force me to open to the beauty of love again and again and again. And it's I'm already like, fuck, when is that gonna happen? I'm glad I haven't gotten into another relationship. It does feel like it's time though soon.
Yeah.
And I'm curious what those old wounded parts are gonna be like at that point.
That's true bravery, in my opinion. That's true leadership for yourself. That ability that you had with your ex of sharing with her that deep inner process, and then the burst, the breaking of the dam, letting it all move through, and then she came towards, right? This is probably a good barometer for like a good connection, but most humans are going to go towards that kind of opening. That's love, that's affection, that's compassion, and it's presence.
I know.
Like that's real intimacy. You know, when I work with couples, I was like, our intimacy is all fucked up and we don't have sex. And the first thing is like, we don't have sex. And this is more particular with married couples who have kids, because when you have little kids, all this intimacy of the way it used to be, which includes sex, which includes just having time for deep conversations, of just hanging out together, just co-regulating, reading books next to each other, right? This all is changing so dramatically. I know for me personally, and for many of my clients, especially the men that are in heteronormative relationships, they are freaking out. Like something's wrong. We're not going to make it. Maybe they're having an affair.
Because they're not having sex.
And they feel like the intimacy has changed so dramatically, right? So like what you did, right? Just coming towards the partner and sharing something raw, you know, it could be the kind of vulnerability that you shared. It could be something way more minimal, and watch the partner come towards because they want to meet you in that moment. Wow. That is intimacy. I mean, that is having the heart feel held.
What I'm hearing is that vulnerability, like I said, but you just gave me kind of an interesting new lens on it. That vulnerability is an invitation into intimacy. Where when I see somebody vulnerable, I'm not going to drop them. When I see somebody really sharing themselves with me, I'm not going to drop them. And it's an invitation to come closer, to merge with. And obviously, physical intimacy, sex is a product of that. obviously that closeness, that coming together, it's almost like a closed heart somehow blocks intimacy. I mean, obviously blocks intimacy when I'm saying that, but when the heart opens, and that means expressing pain, expressing fear, expressing, I don't know if this relationship is going to work. I don't know if, and it breaks my heart, expressing heartbreak, fear, grief, all of it. When we can be vulnerable, sharing those emotions, it's an invitation for our partner to hold us in a deeper way, to be met in a deeper way. And also not even just in partners, but platonic relationships. When I can share that with my friends, like, they can show up. You give them the opportunity to show up for you and to hold you in your pain and to recognize, hey, just because you're in pain, expressing, I don't even like the word weakness, expressing grief, being a human being. We're not going to drop you. It's okay. You can let that out. Medicine. And I want to talk about the lack of sex, actually, that happens in relationships sometimes, because that has happened to me in certain relationships. And I'm always like, what's going on here? And I think there is something about the unwillingness, and it might be completely unconscious, might be just repressed, suppressed, and again, pushing away of discomfort, of some sort of pain, some need not getting met, not wanting to express that, being like, maybe out of care, I don't want to make my partner feel bad, but I need something and they're not meeting me. And that's vulnerable, right? That's scary. How do you tell the person you love that?
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. And what you said, I don't want to make my partner feel bad. Like, just when I hear that, I've thought that before for sure, but there's a closing down. It's actually the opposite of what you want to do. Of course, we don't want to make them feel bad, but you said it before, right? When somebody can come back to you and say, that hurt, or I'm hurting, whether they cause it or not, that level of vulnerability, that level of sharing, it creates such an opening to go deeper, right? And I think lack of sex in a relationship is almost always at the root of safety, and it's, you read the literature, between like men and women, and it's like, oh, well, the woman doesn't feel safe. Well, that's probably true. Why doesn't she feel safe? He probably doesn't feel safe either. How can he provide safety if he doesn't have safety? If he isn't creating it for himself, finding it in his brothers, finding it in his friends and his community, right? There aren't good role models for this. They're being forged. Now, I'm trying to be one. I think you're trying to be one, but it's hard when you don't have a lot out there to look up and go, that guy's 10 steps ahead of me.
Bro, the future is bright. I see it. You see it. We all see it. The future is bright, but we're, and many people are doing the work to lay that foundation right now, to make sure that future is bright for our kids and also future versions of us. Because it's like the same consciousness that sees behind my eyes, the same consciousness sees behind your eyes. So guess what? We have nowhere else to be. So let's make this world a better place, a more beautiful place for future you. And I think that's something beautiful. And I completely agree with it. And it's like our task in this generation is almost, it seems like the alchemy of pain, the alchemy of fear, the alchemy of a closed heart turning into an open heart. That is like the work of our times, which is like, how do we alchemize the trauma from, let's just say human history up to now, of like the fight or flight terror, of the rape and pillage conquest. Am I going to die this winter? I don't know. Like, terrifying. Human existence has been terrifying. And now we're at this point where, okay, things are basically taken care of for most of, not everyone obviously, but most of modern culture, So then why is life so shitty? Oh, because the demons are in our heads. The demons are in our hearts. How do we open up to that and purify that for the sake of the collective? And I think it's a collective thing. It's the collective human consciousness. We are purifying that heart and mind of the oneness that we are. And we can do our own individual part. But ultimately, let's just put it like this. We are affected by everybody. So if everyone's walking around with a closed heart and kind of being a dick, it's natural for me to also close my heart and sort of be a dick because it's safer, right? So it takes a lot of courage and vulnerability to open the heart in these times. And the intimate relationship is a microcosm of that, right? Yeah. How do I open my heart to this situation knowing that maybe it gets stabbed? Maybe. And that's the thing. That's courage, right? Maybe you end up crucified. and it's like, that's courage. And it's scary, but I see it as like it's a purifying process, because we get to go into the darkness of, again, our own hearts and minds, and we get to find those demons there. And this is what I do with clients. It's sort of like we get to love them to death. This is the only way, actually. The more we fight them, the stronger they get. The only way is to love them to death. And that's that little boy that's hurting, that little girl that just wants to be seen, to be met, to be held, to be acknowledged. Those are the places that we have to go to, in a sense. And I want to talk about parts work, because it seems like we're kind of going there. So internal family systems, but to go back to these parts of ourselves that maybe got fragmented from our being, from some painful memory of whatever, some example, my dad screamed at me or beat me or something like that in the past. And that memory is so resisted. We push it away so hard that we actually fragment our being. And all of a sudden, this little boy is then stuck at whatever, 10 years old, 12 years old. And actually, it seems like the only way to heal that is to go back to that little boy who's like, yeah, you remember how unsafe you felt back then? You remember how scary that was? And you get to like reparent that kid and be like, yeah, I got you, buddy. I hear you. I see you. And it's like, there's like this embrace. And this is like, again, in the mind's eye, like you're embracing this like image of a little you. And you feel in the heart where you're embracing the pain. Mm-hmm. You're embracing that fear, that feeling of unsafeness, whatever it is. You're connecting with it. And it's counterintuitive to the, I would say, untrained human mind. But when you connect with the pain, that is the alchemical process. That is the purifying. That is the healing. It's the running and the rejecting and the pushing away that makes these demons stronger, that makes this pain haunt us. And it's like, so I want to, I guess, hear about your experience with parts work, either with yourself or with clients.
Sure. Well, I think what you said too, this, holding everything in place, like trying to keep this rigid structure of like keeping the pain away from the present moment, this internal tension that just sucks so much energy when we try to do that, and just amplifies the pain. Are you cool if I do like a little 2-minute practice that I do with clients?
Bro.
All right, we'll try to keep this to 2 minutes.
Please go for it.
All right, so yeah, just like feel your feet flat on the floor. Feel your body against the chair beneath you. Just feel the earth and all its power, its gravity holding us up, holding up anything we can bring, all of our experience, past, present, future. And now I want you to imagine that little boy, that little girl, that little whoever inside of you. Imagine them sitting in your heart space, like they're on a swing set at a playground. It's beautiful out. The sun is trickling through the trees. They're happy. And just notice them for a moment. And now, notice there's a second swing set right next to them. And just walk up. Maybe ask them, hey, can I sit down next to you? And then see what they say. If they invite you to sit down, sit down. If they ask you to stay standing, you can stand. Maybe you sit on the ground in front of them. And just ask that little one in front of you, what do you need right now? Maybe they share with words. Maybe it's just a felt sense. And go ahead and meet them in whatever way they're asking for. Maybe that's with contact. Maybe that's holding their hand. Maybe it's just looking them in the eyes deeply and seeing them. And then without doing anything else, just thank this little one, say your goodbyes, show your gratitude, and allow them to go back to whatever they were doing before you got there. And as they drift away in your memory, come back into your body, feel your feet against the floor, body against the chair. Start to breathe some breath deep into your belly. And then bring some movements, and slowly on the next exhale, open your eyes, come back into space.
That was beautiful. Thank you, David. It was interesting. The house I grew up in, New York, and upstate New York, it was like evening light, and it was in our front yard, not where we had a swing set, but just kind of in the front yard where there was actually a hammock. But it was little me, and he's having a dope time just on the swings. I sit down next to him, and he just wants to sit down next to me, like in the grass. So we sit down in the grass. It's like beautiful light, and I felt like it's interesting seeing me, and it's just like remembering pictures of myself, this adorable little kid, no tattoos. And just how beautiful this kid was. That was what was sitting with me, is like the love for this. Like I'm like tearing up actually thinking about it. It's this little kid. He doesn't even know what's about to go down. Doesn't even know. Doesn't need to. And I'm here regardless. And he just wanted to sit with me. And it just feels, I don't know why I'm like tearing up. It's interesting. It just feels so good. Yeah, I can't even explain it. I don't know why I'm tearing up. But yeah, thank you.
Yeah. It can be so simple, right? To get in touch with ourselves. But it's just so not accepted. It's in so many ways, right? In our culture. It's like, I'm sure somebody who just listened to that probably turned it off.
Yeah.
Which is a bummer.
Yeah.
You know?
Such a beautiful opportunity.
I love doing that work with my clients.
Same.
It's really powerful to do it with couples also. Yeah. Because actually having one person in the couple witness the other person go through like what you just did, and just like watch them have an experience and move through emotions. It's not about talking about it. It's not about explaining it and processing it in front of the other person. It's just witnessing them.
Yeah.
It's really simple, but actually taking the time to do it is hard. It is hard to find that time.
It's so interesting because, like, bro, that was what, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, something like that. And I'm like, that was so nice. It just felt so good. I'm like, why don't I do that more often? Because it's always like, I got shit to do. Maybe I'll, sit and meditate. I need to read the book. Maybe I'll go on a run. I got to go grocery shopping. There's just stuff always. And it's all external. But we can travel places inside. We can travel into the heart. And god damn, it feels good there. It's like we can travel to the ends of the earth, to the, crystal clear blue waters, the fancy beaches, the dope vacations. But we can also travel to places that are so serene, beautiful, enchanted and blissful in our hearts and in our minds. And I think we forget that as human beings. We think that it's all out there. But it's like we have this immense power to cultivate the things that we most deeply want without having to reach for it externally. That love, that wholeness, that it's okay. It's okay regardless. Insert whatever here. It's okay. Life, death, not enoughness, heartbreak, anything. It's okay. And showing up for that part of ourselves that's whatever, afraid, grieving, sad. Healing isn't, it's so much more than that, actually. I really do know that. It's deeper than just healing. We're connecting with something profound. The possibility of enchanting this human existence with beauty, with I'll say also divinity, with love. So that love that I was able to tap into for that little boy in that practice, that little version of me, after doing that practice, it's here. It's here. It's actually here with us. That love is no longer just it's not an internal thing. Now it's with me. It's with us here. I get to give that to the world. And that's like, again, that's a microcosm. We can go into the heart individually, collectively, cultivate that love and give it to the world.
Yeah. Right. And when you spoke about, it's hard to keep your heart open when you go out in a world where everyone's heart is closed. This is the kind of thing you can do to open that back up again.
Yeah.
This is something else that I remember a dad who had adult kids at this point, and I think my wife and I were pregnant with our first at the time, and he gave me this idea. I'm going to share it. It's super weird. I think it's weird now. I thought it was really weird at the time, but I've done it. Weirdness is good, though. Check this out. So he goes, once in a while, as your family's growing up, just kind of take yourself out of the living room. Everyone's having dinner. Everyone's having a thing. Like, just for a minute, take yourself out and find a way where you can just kind of peer into the room through a window, through the hallway, through the doorway, and just like witness what's happening there. The love, the magic, the moment, and just like, that is something that you're building. Yeah. You know, just take that perspective, pull yourself out of it for a moment and watch. Wow. It is so profound. It is so special. When you were talking about like feeling that love for little Ben inside, I can tell you it's even bigger when you see it in your children sitting out in front of you and they're playing and you're just down there on their level and you're just watching them be and just like deeply looking into their eyes, and they don't really know what's going on. You don't really know what's going on for them either. But it's so sweet. Yeah. It's so there in the here now. Yeah. Nothing else matters. Yeah. I hope if that's in your future that we get to talk about this together.
I was just hearing you say that. I was like, bro, I'm so excited to be a dad. I don't know when it's going to happen, who it's going to happen with. That's part of the beautiful mystery, right? But I can't wait to see, like, to love something like that. I can't wait to give my heart to something, just let it flow. To tell them how much I love them, how much I'm going to support them, how much wisdom I'm going to share with them when they're ready, how much I'm going to protect them. Like, it already feels so good just to think about it. And I really do want that. And I've had exes say, like, you would be such a great dad. And I'm like, I know I would be such a great dad. I can wait. And now's not the time. Let's put it like that. But when it does happen, I feel like it's almost like that love for a being like that I'm just envisioning is like the terror of the sublime, where it's unbelievable love, and with that unbelievable terror of like, oh, I have my heart now, my whole heart walking outside of my body. Fuck, I don't have any control over them. I mean, to a degree, right? So it's like, that's a practice in trust. That's a practice in faith. That's a practice in acceptance, letting go in a deeper way. I can't imagine.
Yeah. I was reflecting on this recently, and when I was a younger man, before getting married, before having kids for sure, I had gotten to this place of, I'm actually not afraid of dying. Yeah. I've done the plant medicine. I've done the vision. I've done the difficult things. And I go, I'm not afraid what's on the other side. Mm-hmm. You know, am I looking forward to it? I don't know, but I'm not afraid when it comes. Yeah. That has changed since having kids, because like you said, now my heart is out there. My roots are deeper and it's way more apparent. I have a lot more to lose in a way. Yep. But I'm okay with that. Like, I live with that, knowing that I'm putting all I can into these beings around me. Yeah. Because when it does happen and I go, the transmission is in a way complete. You know, my love will keep flowing towards them, and whatever I've, helped kind of already put in their heart will be there. But, the work for me in this vessel will be done. Yeah. So it's like, how do I do it as much as I can right now? Yeah. And it's okay that I'm afraid of dying, that like there's some attachment there that comes up. I'm accepting of that at this stage. Yeah. That means I care that fucking much.
And I think that's necessary. Like in traditional Buddhist Dharma, it's like, don't be attached to anything or you'll suffer. I don't think suffering is objectively the enemy. Like, after tasting quite a bit of freedom from said suffering, I don't think it's the enemy. It adds a poetry to life. The beauty, the depth that I get from really wanting to love something in the fullest ways possible. And the thing is with love is there's actually no limit. So if I want to just keep loving, again, kids, my partner, this life as fully as possible, you're signing up for suffering by default. Because guess what? Everything ends. Everything ends. And the beauty, it's almost like the checkmate experience of this human existence is that we need love. We're here to love, and that all has to end. Checkmate. And it's the question is how much suffering are you willing to endure knowing that it all has to end? And I will also say we can swap out that word suffering with how much beauty are you willing to endure knowing that love always ends. And with that comes the grief of losing that which you love. How deep am I willing to dive? I get the image of like a bird in the sky flying through the void. And we get to choose, how deep do I want to dive into love? And there's no right and wrong. Some people open their hearts less than others. No right and wrong objectively. Some people are crippled permanently from opening their heart so deeply to someone and having something crushing, tragic happen. Crippled permanently. And yes, it hurts. And yes, there's a beauty in that too. I don't even know why I'm crying. It's just so... It is so beautiful. There is like a beauty in all of it. Like for me, it's like with the love, when it ends, no matter what it is, it's just recognizing if I can open to this, there's beauty here and there's something sacred, and it's not a way to escape the pain, because the only way out of the pain is through it. There is no other way. There is no other way. It's a blessing. The grief is how we honor that which we love. And that's, again, this human experience. There's no way out. There's no way out. And it's like, it's so beautiful and heart-wrenching and tragic and like wondrous all at the same time. And I like, maybe it's just like thinking about being a dad. I can't imagine, bro. I can't imagine. It seems like so immense, so much weight.
It's a lot of weight. It's a lot of weight. It has definitely been the greatest teacher that I've had. My a family friend of mine, she unfortunately passed away 2 weeks after she told me this. Was having a party for my wife and I. We didn't get to have our wedding because of COVID, and 2 years later, my parents had like a cocktail party at their house or something. And so this woman was there. And at that point, my wife and I were pregnant. And so the whole new chapter was really being celebrated. And she said, "How are you feeling about being a dad?" And I said, "Well, I'm excited, but I'm pretty nervous. It's a lot, and I don't know how I'm going to be." And she just said, she put her hand on my top of my hand. She said, "You're going to be a great dad. You have a great dad. He had a great dad. You already know what to do." I was like, wow. I mean, of course, nobody's perfect, right? I got my grievances with my parents, but they showed me how to love. Yeah. They showed me how to show up for your kids the best you can. And they also show me that I get to do it the best that I can. Yeah. And there's no excuse for that.
So beautiful. And it was making me think of my dad. And he's such a great guy. And just, I know I'm going to be a great dad. And again, was it perfect? No. I have wounds. Everyone has wounds. Everyone. And I love this quote. It's never too late to have a good childhood. Look back at that and say they did the best that they could. And it's a part of my duty to try my best to alchemize any wounds that were given to me. And I'll say actually gifted to me. The wounds that were gifted, they're not for no reason. They're not random. They're sacred wounds. They are blessings. There's an image in depth psychology. They talk about how a clam takes on a little grain of sand, and that grain of sand irritates this clam. It's like, fuck, this thing hurts. We can relate that to our trauma, the sacred wound. And over time, what it does is it lacquers it in this essence, this mother of pearl essence. And then you get one of the gems of the natural world, which is a pearl. And so too within us, do our traumas, our unique blessings, we lacquer them over. How do I deal with this? How do I maneuver through the world with this pain, with this trauma from the family or the world, whatever it is? And that turns into our gift then to the world. And I see that in myself. All the pain that I carried back then, so that I've been blessed enough to alchemize, I get to now give that pearl. Blessings. My God. And what happens when we can view darkness, pain, trauma through that lens of like, I don't know what this is, but I know there's a reason. Maybe I don't know it yet, but I know there's a reason. And I know I'm being gifted a pearl here. How does that change our relationship to it when psychology and spiritual traditions say, oh, if you're suffering, you ever heard of Xanax? Yeah, you know what I mean? It's like we numb, distract, and avoid darkness at all costs. And again, that keeps us from intimacy with ourselves, our own unique souls, and also intimacy with this culture that we're living in, because we turn away from pain instead of actually going in there to find the treasure within it, within the darkness. And I think that's, again, part of this work of our culture at this point in time. Me and you individually, many people. Yeah. It's the collective human mind is purifying, turning towards that darkness, turning towards that pain to create that pearl that then we get to gift to future generations.
Yeah. By doing the work now, we take some of that weight off the next generation. Exactly. This like healing 7 generations in the past, healing 7 generations forward. I mean, that is the day-to-day practice that we're talking about. Mm-hmm. That is why it's important to do your work.
Right.
What does do your work mean? It's different for everybody. Do you need to go sit in 30 ayahuasca ceremonies in a row? Maybe. Do you need to sit and meditate for 5 minutes a day? Maybe. Do you need to just read that book that you keep avoiding that talks about how to be a better parent? Maybe.
Yeah.
Take some steps. Stumble forward.
Yeah.
There was a teacher of mine who kept saying that. Stumble forward.
Yeah.
But just keep moving forward.
I think I love that, stumble forward. Maybe even you fall sometimes. It doesn't matter. Sometimes life, you're full stride galloping. And then sometimes you're stumbling in the dark. There's no right or wrong. Life has seasons. And it's being able to hold all of that, recognizing I am in the right place. I know that because I'm here. Even if it's darkness, even if it's confusion, even if it's really painful, actually. Recognize this is all part of a path that I will say is actually more than just one lifetime. There's lessons being learned. There's an alchemy going on. There's transformations going on in consciousness and what it manifests materially. And trust that. Trust that we're in the right place. And it's interesting that trust has a very medicinal effect on existence, actually. Even in the darkness, if I resist it more, it's like quicksand. The more I resist the quicksand, the deeper I sink. And all of a sudden I can't move and I'm about to die. And that's interestingly, can I just relax into this and see what happens? And again, I think there's something to be said about pain and grief and fear and how fear contracts the human psyche. And it contracts the human psyche and it induces suffering. So this is a contemplative lens. It also creates senses of solidity. And when I say that, I mean like a solid, separate ego is actually equivalent to fear. So the ego isn't just caused by fear. It is fear. By default, the ego is always insecure, always looking for more, always not enough. And also the sense of solidity of a solid self and a solid world is also fear. So ego, self, and world, or ego, fear, and world are all actually one thing, which is interesting. It's contraction of the psyche. So our goal here is to go into that contraction as healers, to, again, learn how to open to it, to love it, to expand within it. So that this sense of solidity about the trauma in my past, again, when I say solidity, it can be a quote unquote real story of what really happened to me. We have only one lens. I'm a victim, for instance. The more we resist that, the more we contract around it, the more real it seems. So when we go in there and actually love that, and when I say love, I mean expand into it, own it, don't run. Go, the way out is through. When we go into it, it expands, and all of a sudden, I have many different possible narratives that I could throw at that same experience. It's like, oh, again, maybe the angels were testing me. Maybe I needed to develop some resilience. Maybe I need to learn how to let go of that person, of that life path. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But it's only once we've expanded that the psyche has options for different ways of seeing things. Until then, those contractions, again, they solidify one story, and then we're stuck in that story. Do you see what I'm saying with this?
Absolutely. Yeah. When we only sit in one part of the circle, like the center of the circle, first of all, we can only see, right, what's right in front of us. We're missing all the other angles. But if we learn to step outside of that idea and look at it from a different perspective, infinite choices,
right?
Choice points, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is necessary, kind of like narrative therapy. I think it's especially powerful when working with a couple, individuals too. What's the story that's happening here? Where do you have opportunity to make different choices? I could have come in with a different energy. I could have said something different to my partner. I could have not reacted when she told me that she was pissed at me, or that I didn't do the dishes on time, or I was late to this. Like all this stuff started piling up, and then I got reactive. Versus, oh, maybe if I just sit and listen and don't take it personally, that's a choice point. So meditation creates the opportunity for more choice points also. Yeah. Because it slows us down. Even if our meditation is full of thoughts and thinking, and we just keep coming back to the breath, or keep coming back to the mantra, or whatever it is we're trying to do, and the brain and the mind keeps flooding us with different ideas and thoughts that are distracting, that's okay. Right. It's basically doing what it's designed to do. Yeah. If we give it time to do that, eventually it will chill out. Exactly. It will relax. And then when we go into other interactions, we can stay relaxed. Yeah. We don't have to keep projecting this rigidity, this like tightness that you mentioned, right? That keeps us trapped into one way of being, one way of thinking, one way of speaking. And it's a beautiful microcosm to talk about the meditative experience, because it's so many people that are new to meditation. It's like the goal is, how do I shut off this mind that just goes. And I think when people first start out, it's like, oh, let me try to just force it, come back to the breath rigidly, somehow escape this mind. And actually that has this interesting effect of making the mind louder. It's almost like we empower it by trying to force it away. And interestingly, it's like a dog that got off the leash, and it's like you're chasing it through the woods and it just keeps running. And the second you're like, fuck, I can't do this, the dog just comes to you. So the mind is the same way. When I allow the mind to be just as it is, I stop investing energy into it and wishing it was different. And then it just slows down on its own. It's so strange. And people figure that out, and especially when they experience it. And I'll say, with meditation, when I first started, I did not believe that it was possible to actually just turn your mind off, turn the thinking mind off. And after I will say probably 2 or 3 years of solid practice, and I was doing also lots of retreats, I came to this point of recognizing, oh wait, I can actually just turn off thoughts just by, again, so the mechanism, how do you do that? You stop resisting it, you stop pushing it away. And we can, going back to the lens that I was just working with, we stop contracting against it. We actually open to it as it is. And I like the phrase, the mind produces thoughts like the mouth produces saliva. Trying to say you shouldn't think is silly. That's what it does. You know what I mean? So it's like so much of this work in a sort of Taoist lens is just like letting things be as they are. How much can I just let go of wishing things were different, to open up to the beauty, and I will say also the real experience of perfection in the way that things are right now. Good, bad, heartbreak, loss, all of it. There's a perfection here, and we can taste that, and the soul can drink that water, which is so deeply nourishing through that release. But we live in a culture that conditions us not to do that. Hold on at all costs for dear life. Hold on at all costs, label life as this or that, right? That kind of duality. I like this phrase I've been working with myself is, how is life conspiring to give me the most beautiful experience possible? Right. All the past challenges, difficulties, wins, those are all this ongoing equation that's given me an opportunity to learn and grow and change. Exactly. And when I look at it that way, it doesn't feel like baggage. Exactly. It feels, I guess a little, don't feel totally confident saying this, but it feels like wisdom. Yeah. Eventually I think it will be more pure wisdom. Right now it's sort of like, there's a bunch of pieces here. I'm trying to figure them out. Yeah. I'm not trying to reject them. Yeah, I'm actively trying to accept them. Yep. And again, through that process is a purification of the stuff that I pushed away, and now I'm opening to it.
And also hearing you speak like how life is conspiring to give us the most beautiful experiences. What's our expectation of what beauty is? What's our image of what beauty looks like? And might that be maybe only one flavor of beauty? Might that image be, again, a little bit contracted, actually? Can we expand our sense of what beauty actually looks like to include pain, heartbreak, struggle, confusion, all of the quote unquote darkness, which isn't inherently dark. It's due to our relationship to the darkness. The fact that we push it away and wish that it was some other way creates the darkness. If I can expand my sense of beauty, or actually light, I guess we could say, to include difficult experiences, all of a sudden, where am I? Is this heaven? Is it? When I'm not resisting and wishing things were different? It's an open question. Mm-hmm. And I think it's something that's very deep and that we and many people are working to purify. Again, what happens when we let go? Where are we? What is this? And I mean, at the existential material level, what is this? And so, yeah, we went there. We went deep, bro. This was a beautiful conversation, my man.
Thank you for going there with me.
Anytime, bro. You brought some beautiful things out of me, and I really appreciate it. And we're about to hit the sauna, right?
Yeah,
hopefully.
Let's do it.
But David, I want you to shout yourself out. What you're doing and what you got going on.
Yeah. Can I look into the lens?
Of course you can.
It's a thing if people are watching.
Yeah.
Yeah. So social media, David Redish Therapy. Got lots of content there, practices for men, for couples, for anybody who wants to regulate their nervous system. So these are quick, impactful, science-backed personal practices that I use all the time. Also got a virtual men's group on there, The Holding Ground, where I'm posting all kinds of more private musings. It's pretty cool. I'm playing with that right now. Podcast on the way. It's not announced yet, but just seems like time to put that out there.
Yeah.
And if you want to work together, davidredish.com, witnessingyou.com. Yeah, I'd love to do parenting coaching, dad coaching, couples work, therapy. Yeah, sky's the limit. I'm here to support you.
Let's go, my man. Thank you again. And I can't wait to be on your podcast whenever that happens.
You'll be there.
Do you have a name for it yet?
I don't know yet. It's not Spiritual Fuckboy.
No, definitely not. you're a goddamn father, David.
It's coming though. I'll share
David.
It soon.
Father David. That's got a good ring to it. I don't know.
Sounds really Christian.
Exactly.
For a Jewish guy. Yeah, but right. We'll see. We'll figure it out.
All right, David. Thank you again, and thank you everybody for watching.